Right, welcome back to another loco review, and today we're going to have a look at the Fowler 4P tank engine from Hornby, as you can see. You remember from the previous review where I looked at the LMS Crab, which is just over there actually, and as you can see, or you should be able to see clearly, she's had the details glued on, as well as real coal in the tender. But that's not really important right now. This model, as I said in the previous loco review, which of course was the review of the Crab, this model came from S&J Models, brought at the same time as the Crab. As you can see, on the price tag, it cost £65, but I think it was a bit less than that. I can't remember exactly how much it cost, but I'm pretty certain it cost less than £65. But anyway, so we have R2224 LMS Fowler 264T, which the T stands for tanks, by the way, and 264, well, that's the wheel arrangement. There's 2 wheels at the front, 6 in the middle, and 4 at the back. And it's the, well, we've established already, it's the Class 4P tank locomotive, and this one's number 2311. And even though it doesn't say it on the end of the box, this locomotive, just like the Crab, is also an LMS Maroon. I went for the LMS Maroon one because, well, I think it looks really rather gorgeous, in my opinion. And as I said in the review of the Crab, I don't have very many locomotives in LMS Maroon, so that is why I went for this livery. This particular model has been brought out again, by the way, only recently. This comes in the old polystyrene packaging. I do believe the one they've brought out again is in the plastic packaging, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But the detailing, it's pretty much the same as this one. I don't think they've really changed the detail, to be honest. But anyway, let's get this model open and see what it's like. This is the first time I'm going to open it. Okay, so we'll take off the standard Hornby box. I'll put that aside. Then here you get the usual card insert. You don't really get it much nowadays, but you do get these older models. Yeah, one thing I do love with some of these models, in tiny print they have, model may differ from that illustrated. Yeah, thanks for that, Hornby. But I'm pretty certain it won't really differ from what's been illustrated, because they usually don't. As you can see, it's the polystyrene packaging, which is the finger hole stuff, which, although I'm not really a fan of, I do prefer it on the Batman one, because, well, with the older Batman models they have, because the polystyrene is much softer and it's easier to get the model out. In this case, as well, in some cases with the Hornby packaging, it's harder to get the model out. But anyway, so we have the instructions for the 264 Class 4P Fowler tank. You can see it's fitting the brake rods on the back, but sometimes they are factory fitted. So it might be the case with this one, I don't know. But it's the usual, oh, that's interesting. Oh no, I thought they had a picture of a tender locomotive then, but they haven't, so just my imagination. So it's basically the lubrication to replace the motor if you want, and removing the body. Obviously it's not DCC ready, so there's nothing about chipping it, but I'm sure you could add that yourself if you wanted, like fitting a DCC place in it. You know what I mean. So now there's the detail pack, and there isn't really much in here, to be honest. What you do have is a little chain link coupling for the front if you want to add it. It is in there. It's yeah, you can just about see it there. You get a screw there as well, and a coupling, which I do believe to fit on the front, and the cab steps for the front. It would have been nice if they put lining on them, but that's only really a minor quibble. Okay, we'll get the instructions and the detail pack out of the way. Let's try and be more professional. And there she is, wrapped up in the horrible tissue paper, which I don't like. I can tell that this is going to be hard to get out, definitely, because there's only one finger hole in the back. It would have been better if there was two, really. This is the point where I really don't want to damage anything. Yeah, she's not actually easy to get out. You know, if you're going to do polystyrene packaging like this is one reason why I don't like it. If you've only got the one hole in here, it's harder to get the model out of. Two would have been better. I don't think she wants to budge anymore. This is ridiculous. Absolutely diabolical. She won't not come out. Hornby, if you're watching this, I am glad you have stopped this polystyrene packaging, because look at it. You can't even get the model out. And I really don't want to damage it either. She's not going to budge, I'm afraid. So we're going to have to find a solution to that. Right, I think I found a way how to get it out. Yes, there we go. Look at that. But you see, that still isn't good. You know, the finger hole there should be to help get the model out. In this case, it's difficult. They should have put two small holes in there instead of one big one. Okay, that looked a bit wrong then. I want to stick my finger through the hole, but who cares? Yeah, this is one reason why I don't like the packaging. Because it's awful. So I've finally got the model out. We'll just load the camera down so you can't see the crab in the background. Now we'll take off the tissue paper, and there she is. Yeah. Right, well, there are some polystyrene bits on her, so I'm going to brush them off first. In your face. Oh. It's all about attention to detail, you see, folks. Right, well, it's all off now. So, let's look at her in detail. But before I do go into detail, I want to give you a bit of a history lesson on this locomotive. I don't think there are too many videos on YouTube about this class of locomotive. But one interesting piece of history is that this was the first 264 tank engine to run in Great Britain. I'm being serious there, that is true. Because this, the LMS Fairburn, which was based on the LMS Stanier tank, which is basically the same sort of thing, was derived from this. Now, as you can see, the Fairburn here, and indeed the same goes for the Stanier tank, is also a 264. Now, I'm sure you're thinking, nah, that's not entirely true. Well, it is, because the Fowler 4Ps, they were, well, for a start, they were all built at Derby Works. 125 were built, and they were built from 1921 to 1934. Production of the LMS Fairburns, which we're using as the example here, they were not built until 1945. So Fowler's 4P came first, and they proved to be reliable and successful in service, and the wheel arrangement did the job it was supposed to do. It was very successful. And so other tank engines, of course the Fairburn and the Stanier tank, also used the same wheel arrangement later on. There are two of the Fairburns in preservation. There are none of the Fowler 4Ps preserved, which is quite a shame. Though there is a new build project to build one of these, to recreate one. Apparently, do excuse the snuffling I have. And these were, of course, being Fowler designs. They were designed by Sir Henry Fowler himself. So that's the bit of history lesson for you. It's not too much, but then not too less either. Because you don't want too much of a history lesson, because bear in mind this is supposed to be a review, not a lecture on the real thing, because then I'm sure everybody will get bored and they'll fall half asleep on their laptop or the computer, whatever they're watching it on, or even the telly, I suppose, if they wanted to watch my videos on the telly, if you know what I mean. And then they'll probably wake up, and by that time the review will probably be ending, and go, oh, is that it? What happened? So yeah, but anyway, let's go to the details. So the first thing is, there's a fair bit of weight in this. She is heavy. But remember, the weight is important because, well, if there was no weight in the model, she wouldn't be able to pull anything really. I'll have to wipe my grubby marks off later. As you can see, the wheel arrangement is spot on, of course, 264. And I just love the LMS Maroon livery. It's spot on. Just look at that. It's the correct shade of maroon. The lining is spot on. Just look at the lining, and you've got the accurate LMS lettering there on the sides. And you've got a builder's plate, which says, well, I know for a fact, even though I'm not even reading it, I know for a fact it says Derby, because they were all built in Derby. And just look at the link motion. Wow, just look at all that. And you've got the sandpipes here as well. And I just love the lining on the wheels, which looks very nice. There's even some rivets on the cylinders, and there's even lining on them. And the drain cocks, they're already added, so it saves us a job. The buffers, they're oval, and they're metal. And the sprung. So everybody who likes sprung buffers, they'll be pleased about that. There's a few rivets on the buffer beam as well as some lining. And there's a hook there, so you can put the chain link coupling on if you want to. And that is where the coupling, the spare one I showed you earlier, in this bag of details, goes into. But it looks like it's going to be tricky, to be honest. It doesn't look very easy at all. There's a brake pipe already added on. You've got some lamp irons on the running board. And of course you've got the smart box door. You've got the running number on the front, 2311. And there's a lamp iron and a handrail on it as well. It doesn't open, but it doesn't really need to. You've got a nice chimney, which you could fit a smoke generator unit in it if you wanted. You've got some nice handrails as well. And there's some rivets around the smoke box. Got a nice dome, and the whistles and the safety valves are present, and are made by turned brass. And there's even some nice detail on the top of the water tanks as well, including these washout plugs and the filler caps. There's even glazing in the cab windows, which is what we want. There's rivets on top of the cab and a vent, which doesn't really open, but it doesn't need to be honest. There's even some rivets on the side of the tanks here as well, just where the cab is. The numbering is accurate as well. There's even some metal handrails put on there, and you've already got the steps for the cab here, so you don't have to fit them on, unlike with the crab. We have to fit both the steps for the cab and the front. You've also got some pipe work here as well. Well, there's even some rivets on the frame there. Just look at that. And the cab detail, it's there and it's painted. Look at that. That is really nice. And there's even coal in the bunker. And regardless, it's not removable. At least not to my knowledge, because you don't really seem to come across tank engines with the coal in the bunkers that are removable. This is something I think they should do though. You could still add your own real coal load in there if you want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to be honest. As you can see, there's the back windows there with the guard irons on. Then of course the back buffers are sprung, or the rear ones I should say, because the front ones weren't obviously. There's the coupling at the back, which is already fitted in. The hook is slightly bent. Yeah, it's straightened out, it's took care of that. There's a brake pipe on the back and a handrail. Rivets on the buffer beam, and you've got a few lamp irons. And that's basically for where the crew can climb up onto the bunker, if they should so wish. And the detailing on the other side, well, it's basically the same. Well, they do have some pipe work here as well, and it's even painted. Accurate link motion and side rods, which is the same as on that side, as per prototypical, and as it should be. You've got another builder's plate there as well, and some more detail here. She's a cracking model. But now what we have to do is to give it a run. Right, so here we are at the track. And so we're going to put the Fowler 4P onto the rails. Yep, she's on, so we'll give her a wiggle. Oh yes, she runs. Okay, let's get her rolling. Wow, now that is smooth mechanism. There's no grinding noises or any jutter motion. And there's the link motion moving. That is smooth. There will be fencing put up along here soon. Also that fence that I talked about is back now. There, now that the glue for the scatter's dry, I'll put some more bushes on. Then passing the yard where the B12 and the breakdown crane are still there, and you've got some other wagons here, including these mineral wagons that are full of real slate. She's gone past through the station where all the people are waiting to commute. At the seaside it still looks like a ghost town, but it will be like a proper seaside soon, I can assure you. I know I think I keep saying that, but it will be detailed. Because there's some fencing to be put up, and some people of course. Then she goes under the bridge and over the crossing and under the tunnel arch. And then she'll pop out at this end. That's not a euphemism, by the way. Okay, well, excuse the rain pittering down on the garage roof, but I can't do much about that. But anyway, we're now going to get the Fowler 4P, pulling the rake of Maroon coaches. And she can pull them, because I have ran her off camera, pulling these coaches, and she copes with ease. And that, well, that's just the start of the proof you need, really. She's passing this section of track which is being replaced because the last piece there was dodgy. And also there's a problem with a bad joint there, but that's fixed now. So it was a loose fish plate. Just look at that link motion. But look at that, I mean, that's not a very fast bird, which is coping really well, which is what we want, really. That fence was a bit crooked there. There she goes through the tunnel. And there she comes out the other end, and pretty much back to where she started. Right, let's talk about some of the things that have happened on the layout, because this is a few days after I filmed running in without the train she's pulling. Right, first of all, excuse this buffer stop here, and I should point out that that section of track I told you about earlier that was replaced has come out to this siding, but I have got a spare piece of track which we put into there after I filmed this video. There's a new fence put up here, which is better than the previous one. That is from Ratio, by the way. There's also some new fencing put up along the road. Excuse the balls of white blue tack. That will be painted over with some black paint later to disguise it a bit. I'll still need to get some more fencing to finish that bit off, but it's looking quite good. There's also some fencing put up along there. Excuse the paint pots, they're not there. Well, they're not going to be there permanently, but they're there while the glue is drying. And also there's some walls now put up along, well, the seafront. They are made of cardboard. Originally I was going to put the fencing up, but I didn't think it would look very realistic, to be honest. This is the car park, the station car park, which I've put these white lines there to make it look better and a bit more realistic. It might look complicated with all these lines, but trust me, if we use a couple of examples of some of the cars, these won't be on the car park. There are smaller gaps there, they're just to, well, have some gaps there, just like it does in a real car park. But you get the idea. There will be some cars put on there, sooner or later. And also we've got a Union Jack flag, which is going to be on the military scene, but I've yet to glue it into place. So yeah, the layout's starting to come on really nicely. I will get some more ballast so I can fill areas like this in. Just wait for the train to go. Yeah, put ballast in places like here to make it more realistic. Excuse me, my voice sounds a tiny bit different, I have got a bit of a cold. But anyway, that's that done and explained with. And as for these working street lamps, oh, bad focus there. The others that are over there, they will be wired up soon, and I've got some to go on the station as well. But one thing I will add is that one of them isn't working because one of the bulbs is gone. It's either due to that or it may have been disconnected. So that's another job for me, basically. But that'll be sorted. That's pretty much it for what's been going on the layout, really. Well, to sum this locomotive up then, she's flawless, and I don't think there's any better word to describe this model as. She runs well and smoothly, she's absolutely gorgeous, stunning detail, and she's more than capable of pulling a fairly long train like this one. I'm sure she can hold longer ones, but I don't think she'll haul very many trains longer than this one, to be honest. I just can't seem to fault her. If you haven't got a Fowler 4P in your collection, you need to get one, because they're stunning, and you won't be disappointed. So pick out your favourite livery that you like, and get it. Every model railway needs a Fowler 4P.